Hi, everybody. It's 1 o'clock uh, Central Daylight Time on the 15th of August, and I've recovered from my 9 candles. Um, each one of those shows takes two doings. One is to get the people who want to speak with me about the 9 candles, then get that recorded, then get that all translated, so I can end up during the premieres. It's a lot of work goes on in 9 candles, and then in the middle of all that, I did a live with Andre Carr from Astrology Alert, and opened up my inbox the next day and had about 50 people that wanted grids and readings and whatever. So it just takes forever to get all that stuff put together. But I'm looking upon all of the bright little lights that have shown up in my life as glimmers. I found this quote the other day and I couldn't believe how perfectly it fit with where I was. Have you heard about glimmers? They're the opposite of triggers. Lord knows I have enough triggers. A glimmer is a tiny micro moment of happiness, a sign of hope. Once you begin to look for them, they will start to appear everywhere. And that's kind of where I'm hoping we're all headed, is into looking for the glimmers, looking for the good things. Um, I know I didn't get many comments, like any at all. All I got about it was everybody felt the same way. They were so glad that we now had kind of a word for that teeny tiny little good feeling that we can focus on, so we can make it grow and grow and grow. And hi to everybody. I see Angla's here, Prince Charming's mom's here, Karen Johnson, Lori Hunsinger. Well, I'm glad to see all of you here, and there's 20 some of you here. So, what I was going to do was start with a thought for the day to go along with the glimmers. And I may be speaking about glimmers for a while because I've seen some pretty miraculous things happen recently around me. But this is that still small voice is still deep within each one of us. My voice is there for all to hear. It's not just a chosen few, but everyone, all of us have a shot at that little voice. It simply depends on the capacity of the individual to hear it, receive it, and depends on the faith and belief and understanding of that still small voice that's deep within each one of us, and whether we tie our own energy to it. It is withheld from no one. Everybody has it. It's there for you to understand and there for you to grasp. In a state of peace and stillness, you can hear that little voice, and when it's heard the next time, you learn to obey it. And I think that's kind of where we all are, and I think we're all starting to see changes some of us thought we might never see. Hi, Dr. Gail. Um, it's so good to see all of you. Nancy Castro, she's greetings from Tennessee. Uh, what we're what I'm going to kind of talk about today, since nobody gave me questions, I'm going to talk about things I'm doing to try and attune myself more to the glimmers of what's going on around. Um, I decided I don't take courses very often, mostly because I, I'm cheap. But the other reason is there aren't that many courses that are teaching me about something I think I'm going to use on a regular basis. And I'm now taking a course in numerology, and it's angel numbers and numerology, combining the two, showing where they meet, showing where they don't. The original set of angel numbers, that if you download one of those angel number apps on your phone, those come from a while ago. Those numbers were around in the 70s. And Doreen Virtue had a whole lot to do with pushing that when she was still with Hay House and when she was still a true believer. But anyway, Radley Valentine worked with her on some presentations of angel numbers. And so now he's gone back and he's teaching a course in just looking at numbers differently. And I look at numbers differently because I look at them through the numerology of Ann Perry. I've had her on. If you just go to her website and just kind of prance around through the shows she's got recorded in there, they're very, very good, and they're very, very insightful, and you can learn a lot. I personally use tarot. I use numerology and tarot when I teach it. I teach 1 through 9, and then we expand from there on what people want to learn. Um, I've got, and I use a lot of the numbers I use. I use from sacred geometry because I use that in working with the grids and working with the crystals. And but I thought I'd see what his system's like. I like him. I find his classes entertaining, and he does have that thing. I'll be a certified angel number person, whatever. I'm like, okay, fine. But it will give me new information to work from. And one of the things he has us start doing, we went through all the numbers from 1 to 9, which was real interesting. And I took notes and was paying attention because you always hear something that you hadn't thought of when you're doing this. But what he's having us do is keep a journal of numbers we see. So when you see numbers in a certain order, to write them down and keep them in your journal. And that's just made me more aware of numbers I see other than in my work. So I woke up in the middle of the night having a dream where my dream went to a 404. If you don't know what 404 is in computer language, it means you've been directed to a space that isn't there. I thought this was kind of an interesting spot to be floating along in a dream, and all of a sudden I get to a place and there's a big 404 message. Well, there's no information for you here. Goodbye. Um, and later in the day, I got a 444. I got a 333, which was off a clock that I was just walking by and I looked at. Um, Today, it was a 6. I saw 2 different 6s, became very important in places I wouldn't have expected them to be. So, in a way, I guess the way I'm working with numbers and looking at numbers right now is a lot of what I'd like you to do when you're thinking, if you want to work with glimmers, pay attention to it. That I heard something and made me feel really good. Um, or it reminded me of some fond memory I had from when I was younger, and or it just reminded me of someone that I used to know. I saw this would be a glimmer for me, would be chocolate chip cookies. My best friend, when I was growing up, could figure out the cost of everything in chocolate chip cookies or donuts. And we'd be walking around and we'd be going in my downtown, walking past a store window, and I'd say, "That's really a pretty dress," or "That's a pretty skirt," or whatever. And she'd look at it, and she'd look at the price, and she'd go, "Oh, but that's like 120 donuts." And I never understood her math, but she really went on to have a sterling career uh, as an airline pilot. But she would just look at that's how she looked at things. And so whenever I see donuts just sitting somewhere and my mind's kind of vacant, I always think, oh, Bucky and her donuts. We had to go get donuts. I didn't know where every donut store was in my hometown. Or chocolate chip cookies, because she used to love to make chocolate chip cookies. So those are little glimmers that I carry in my life that take me back to a warm, happy place and kind of get me out of just living in the absolute mundane of what I do every day. That's what I'm going to be kind of talking about. That's why I'm saying listen to your still small voice, because those still small voices are the ones that lead us back to a happier place, and they give us another trail to follow in our consciousness to move forward. And that's what I try to use them to do. So I'll keep you all alerted about how well I do with the uh, angel angel numbers and numerology and that kind of little journey I'm on. And I'd like you, if you want to comment, um, we can do this. If you want to ask questions, you can ask questions. I'd love to have some questions. They make my shows go so much faster when I don't have to think of everything by myself. So, what we're going to do right now is yes, yes, someone wrote, and this is her comment. Um, the cliffs that I spoke of, the cliffs are Moher. They're in County Clare, and I have a good friend, um, and she's never been to Britain or Ireland, and she's going for her 66th birthday. I think her daughter and her son-in-law are taking her. She's going to have her birthday in Dublin, and they're going down. And one of the reasons she wanted to go to that part of Ireland is years ago she saw this picture and she sent it to me and she said, "Do you know where this is? I know I've been there and I know you know where this is." Well, it was the Cliffs of Moher, and that's the part of Ireland my mother's family came from. And I told her, and so she's been um, reading up on it and understanding, watching a lot of history specials on the development of the cultures around that area. And so, yeah, she's so excited. I talked to her for an hour and a half yesterday because all she wants to do is talk about going on her trip and what she's going to see and what she's going to run into. She's a very psychic, sensitive person. I think it's going to be fun. Okay, this is Linda. I've been studying numerology and angel numbers for years, journaling numbers, and amazed by the synchronicity of such numbers in my life. They are trails and messages to our consciousness to bring things forward that we need to see. And, and Lori's already doing it. She found 1111, 1414, 1919. I needed all the spiritual messages I could find. And yeah, and I'll be teaching you guys because he's got a really interesting method on how to view the numbers that I'm really excited to know about. And I guess this is right. It's 11:11 on the West Coast. Yay! It's 1:11 here in Texas. That makes sense. Trust me, I hate time zones. God, they're the bane of my existence. And and Carolyn, we'll all put in good thoughts towards you going to Ireland. It's I'm Irish, a little bit Welsh, and then a whole lot Viking. And I have 2% Portuguese. No. Um, and so let's hope that all the people who wish to go and see a land they knew they were connected to at one point in time get the chance to go back there. My spot actually happens to be in London. When I was a teenager, I went to London. I was singing with a choir that was touring Europe, and I didn't need a map to get around. It's like I knew the place. And I thought maybe that was just a little bit of me being crazy and being a hyper enthusiastic teenager and a Beatle maniac. And Carnaby Street was all the deal at the time. I actually bought an outfit on Carnaby Street. But it was just, I mean, you get me into Lincoln Inn's Field and the area that Dickens wrote about a lot, and I can just kind of walk everywhere. I found the old curiosity shop and everything all by myself. Just, oh, it's over here. So when I went back to England in the mid 90s with my husband, who had been born and raised there and lived in London area till he was 31, we went and we were staying with family members in London out in the northern suburbs. We'd take the tube in, we'd get out, and Bill would say, "Well, I really want to go on a river. I want to take a boat down the Thames and see how it's all changed." And I said, "Sure, well, we need to go this way." And he said, "No, no, 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 no." He said, "I know why you're trying to tell me that you can get us around London, when I grew up here. So we went walking, and mind you, we had a 4.5-year-old child in tow, and who was not all that excited about walking long great distances. So we're walking along, and I said, "This is getting long. Are you sure we're going to the right place?" And so we stopped and asked a person outside the store, and they said, "Oh, no, no, dear, you're going quite the wrong way. So we should have gone the way I said." And Bill goes, "How did you know that?" And I said, "I don't know, but when it comes to London, I have a map in my head. I don't know whether it was reading about Shakespeare all those many years ago and seeing how the city was laid out during Shakespeare's time. I don't know how I did it, but I just have, when you're in along the Thames and you're in Old London, the city of London, which is a 1 mile square district, um, and then it grew out from there. There's an old Roman wall that's there that you can see where the original walls were. Anyway, I hope for all of us that we can. And we have another person with soul memories from Paris. Yep. I mean, it's really amazing when you walk into those kinds of places and you feel like this is where I've always been, or I was here for a great deal of time. Um, One of the things I know just enough about to know I could never do it, but I know Dorothy Morgan does it, and I know a couple of other different astrologers. If you're in the chat and you do this, talk about it. There's a thing called astrocartography, and they take your birth chart and where the planets were, and then they see how they run through the world, and they can find the spots that you would be happiest in living. And um, Jeffrey of Ripe Color, he had his done after he moved to Mexico, and ends up his Venus line from his birth chart runs right along, right through, almost through Mexico City. And he said the second he got there, he knew it's where he felt safe. He felt all the good stuff Venus would give you, and he has that in large number in Mexico City. So um, he's a person I've spoken with most recently who had astrocartography done and found out it worked. Um, I don't know if you're really settled somewhere. I think they can kind of help you figure out how to moderate things. All I know is that when I did have my astrocartography done, they told me that if I had managed to get to London and live in London and made it my home base, it would have been a disaster. And I know in a past life I died in a bombing in London, like the Germans bombing London, um, which is like a whole nother thing. But anyway, that's another suggestion for something to look at if you want to get a little more in depth on who you are. But as Eliza Bassett, Esther, if your natal chart is not complicated, then it can be worth it. But mine is a mess. Sorry about that. And you know that the nasty part about that is we make our own charts. So anyway, I'm going to go over to the garden, and I'm going to ask a couple questions about where we're going. You know, a few events have taken place this week that might have caught some of your attention. And I'm I'm glad things are finally moving. I think it gives us all hope. So so we're going to ask where we're going as a collective. And you know, I can tell time in the garden. It's one of the few things that when I agreed to help bring this forth and carry it over, I said, "Tell me how to tell time." So the way you can tell time is, first of all, you always have air facing north, and you can get a compass. There's compasses on cell phones. You can figure that out. So that's north. So, and the way I know time works is the furthest pizza slice out of here, this kind of pizza slice, the one that's defined by water. In my case, it's water. That's winter, spring, summer, fall. So I'm going to ask about think it's going to even out somewhat for the collective. I know every planet in the world is going retrograde except Mars. And I keep that on my calendar so I can open up my calendar, look at the day, and I have a color that means each planet. And it just, I can look at the lines and watch the number of lines grow. That means we're in more retrograde. But I don't dislike retrogrades because they give you a chance to rethink and redo. So, but we're going to see what I think is going to calm down a little bit. I'm going to say after this week because I know things are coming up at the end of this week as far as arraignments and things that can make it crazy. But after this week, things going to slow down a little bit. So it's a little less nerve-wracking on us. How is the garden? What's it going to be like for the collective? I'm asking the garden. Okay, well, yeah, it's not going to get better till winter. Oh dear. We're in the summer here. We're getting a lot of spiritual enlightenment right now. For those of you who are not terribly familiar with the garden, that's your body. That's fusite. Mind is calcite. Spirit is amethyst. What other stone could it be? Grounding is pyrite, which is, this stone's heavier than any other stone on this board. Pyrite's very, very dense because it's kind of lead. Like gold is related to it. And then clarity is sodalite. So our body's telling us to, actually, this is a good stone. It says movement is going to be easy. After we get past this week, movement's going to seem a lot easier for us. Our mind is going to be at a point where it's going to be, we're going to be thinking about how we view different situations and what we want to do with them, which, like I said, with all those planets retrograde, I don't know what else you're going to do. When you have the Earth has our amethyst, that means that our spirits are right now in a real transformational stage. We knew that going through 8-8 Lionscape. But this really means spirit's transforming, but it's not quite finished. And we have our pyrite is here in air. And air is thoughts. Water is emotions and washing away. Earth is things emerging. Fire is past lives and the past in this life that you're carrying along with you. And air is thoughts and how things can move quickly. Things can move more quickly in air, actually, than they can in water. But a pyrite in air means mental actions are our best path to abundance. And then in the water, which is washing it away, it's washing away clarity. It says we have all the clarity we really need right now. We just need to follow a path and resolve our life situations. And my thing was, is this stress going to go away? Well, since two stones are up here in winter, I'd say winter is going to be the time that we're going to start to feel some real relief. I think in the fall, we're going to get a chance to think, and rethink because our spirit's transforming right now. It's not quite finished. It's not finished in the summer months, but I think things are going to move forward for us as we tie more to things like the glimmers. If we find more of the glimmers, we'll feel better about things. And let's see. Okay, I saw a question. Okay. Oh, well, Liza says she uses the astrocartography to empower herself and sort of places to avoid. Couldn't agree with you more about that. Okay. 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 All right. We're going to answer this question. Let's see if we can get it out of the garden. If we can't, I've got cards, all sorts of cards here to read. Okay. Is artistic world going to meet a significant other soon? What season will they meet them in? Okay. I'd say fall into winter is your best time for meeting this person. And what are they like? Well, first of all, you're not going to particularly care for them at first because right now you couldn't meet them. I'll tell you where your stone is. It's in false. Right now, you're sort of burned on relationships. You think you'd like one. You like one intellectually. If one walked through the door today, I don't think you'd be there. But this fall, you've got some mind dealing with some things from the past, and you're gonna you're gonna meet this person at a place where you don't. It's something you're gonna go to with a friend, and you're gonna meet this person there, and it's gonna be a different place. It's gonna be different than some of the people you sort of know, and they're gonna really trigger off your mind. Where's your body? Bodies are important in this. Body is an air. You need to ground your thoughts, and you also need to let some of the past sort of ideas you have about how things are going to work, you need to let those wash away. You need to get them away. And then in your water, and you also have spirit and go for it. Um, by fall, your mind's going to be very much more aligned with the idea of choosing to spend more time with someone, and you're going to have gone through the transmutation from starting here where you're still hanging on to something. You're going to meet this other person. They're going to open up your eyes, and your transmutation, the changes you need to go through to accept someone else in your life right now, will be complete. And we're going to see what your grounding stone is in water. And oh, that's a good one in water. This stone here says that patterns are beginning to form in your life now are going to become long term, and that the reason this is going to be so strong for you is meeting this different sort of person, and meeting someone who's better suited to you is going to wipe away a memory from the past you've been carrying around with you. So I think you're going to meet them later in the fall, and by winter you're going to be somewhat more secure about being with someone like that. What's the most important thing we need to do daily to keep our inner spirits and vibration positively high? Okay, gratitude, just gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. Start off and first thing in the day being grateful for being here, and then following uh, up on that throughout your day. Look for the glimmers, look for the little things that are making you happy, because the more of them you find, the more of them you kind of gather together and keep with you. And so that's a really good thing. So what we're going to do, I'm going to take your question away because it covers too much of the garden. We're going to say, what's the most important thing we can do on a daily basis to help keep our vibration up? Oh, good. Okay, your body's in the root chakra, way out here. And it says you need to connect your security with your physical form, and you also had your body a teeny tiny little bit and go for it. And it says movement is easy during this coming time if you let there be gratitude. You'll feel, when you feel like you're able to walk through something or work with something or do something and the movement's easy, that's your body telling you this is a good place to be. This is a good thing for us to work on. It's what we need to do. And your spirit is in your sacral chakra, which is creativity. And your spirit's going to be really energized. Do the things that make your spirit feel up. I know there's some things we have to do just because we really have to finally do them, and they're just chores, but don't let those take over. Use your spiritual creativity. And when you feel your spirit, when you get that glimmer that dies to your spirit, go with it, because that's going to be really important. And your spirit in past also says This will help you focus on the fact that so much of you is transforming and is changing. Now, we've got another one that's in the outer ring in the tree of life, which is just a great spot. It means harmony. And um, it says to learn lessons from harmony. Do not, because something seems really easy, don't get sort of swept up that way. Look at it and make sure it's not deceiving you, because you also have your grounding stone in true, and you can see things very clearly. I'd say this stone is more about seeing things really clearly, that you need to be, if you open your eyes, you'll get the glimmers, and then you'll see easily how they all fit together. Then your clarity is in earth, and you're going to have several different paths appear to you, but you're always, if you go into your heart, you're always going to find the one that's the best path to take. And your mind, though, is back here in don't, this is your word of warning in this reading. Don't get too tied to things that always felt good in the past. Try new things, try different things. Because sometimes familiarity can make us feel more secure there, and we don't want to do that. This is saying, oh, these two things are telling us to open up our mind to new things that are coming into our vibrations, and to pay attention to them. And that's the best way that we're going to, and this was the question, what are the most important things we need to do daily to keep our inner spirit's vibration positively high? And it's by not tying to false energy from the past, by seeking and seeing the new things and dealing with problems creatively. And you're going to trust your heart when you feel like I can go this way or that. Take the one that feels the clearest to you, because your clarity is helping you deal with this. Okay, let's see. Okay. Dream Journey 1 left us and went back to work. It's an unfortunate side effect of COVID not scaring everybody half to death. People can't be around all day. Okay. Karen Johnson wants to know, we're going to see if we can see a season that's better for you to start your YouTube channel. I'll tell you the one piece of advice someone gave me about doing a YouTube channel. They said, write out 100 ideas that you could talk about. Even if they're relatively similarly close, just write out all the ideas you have and do it neatly so you can read it. And that's what I did. Once I started doing my channel, I just had this immediate list of things that I could work on and do. And so that's one of the things before you do your YouTube channel, Karen. Write out all the kinds of topics you feel you can best convey to people, and where you may be feeling a void or explaining something better. So we're going to see, when should Karen Johnson start her YouTube channel? Well, girl, you're doing it this summer. You're doing it right now. That was winter, spring. We're in summer. So you got till the 21st of September because these are astrologic seasons. So, and let's see what it says. It looks good. Your mind is in the future. It says, think of this in the future tense. Think about the things you're going to need to get going and doing. That's really strong for you. Your grounding is in air. Mental actions you're taking right now are your path to abundance. And so it's what you're thinking about right now. So like I said, write up real quick your 100 things. Now, this is where your spirit went. It was between path forward and false. Balance your energy and move ahead. And, there's going to be days when you're going to wake up and you're saying, I'm not ready for this. kind of fight your way through that, because the other stones are saying, yes, you are. This is just your own hesitancy holding you back. Um, your body's in earth. So physical changes are coming and things are happening around you that are really going to help you grow this. And your clarity is in path forward. And it says you've been looking closely at the omens and you feel like the time to move is now. So I'd say hook on to the changing energies that are happening right now. Among other things, people will be changing rapidly, and they can maybe tie some of your beginning, your awakening in them, these things about Akashic records and healing and meditation. I think we're all going to need a lot of meditation before this falls over, guys. I hate to say this, but and then I got okay. What does my marriage look like in a year? Um, there's more than one person involved in this marriage, so do you want me to say? I'm going to read it from your perspective because I don't. Since I presume you have a partner, that's your marriage. They didn't ask the question, so I'm going to ask from your perspective. How does a marriage look like in a year? Okay. This is right now. You're not things. You're anticipating something coming up in the fall, and that's because I have a feeling if you look at the stones telling me if you look at your life, if you start writing out like things that happened year over year, fall's never been your best time. Fall's been a time for you to get used to things that have happened around you, and you kind of gather together, and that's the good and the bad. I think I'd look for the glimmers that have been out there. By winter, you've got you need to let go of limitations this winter. Your mind's going to be at a point where it's going to see a lot of interesting possibilities. And I'm saying that because of the two stones that are out here. You have your grounding stone in your crown, in the crown chakra, which is enlightenment. You're going to have a lot of ability in the coming year to connect the different elements together and to decide what you really do want to see. You have in third eye, you have your clarity. Your thoughts are going to get stronger and stronger about this, but and third eye is really being able to see around corners and kind of live with a lot of instinctive feelings. Um, your spirit showed up in air, and I'm working this out on how to get all this together. To be sure your thoughts are clear. You're going to do a lot of inventorying about situations in the fall, and I don't know that's for good or bad. It's just where you are. You're letting go of a lot of limitations you put on yourself before, which means your marriage is going to go through some very interesting changes. You're going to feel very much more enlightened, and you're relying more on your intuition. And so what I see you coming out of this as a much stronger person in the next year. How that goes with your marriage, I don't know, because I would say it's positive because of the trajectory I see in the stones. But wait a second. Okay. I'm going to lay some cards because I see where you are, but I'm going to see. And this is a woman who was happily divorced after 10 years of marriage the first time and unhappily widowed and really loved my second husband. So I see marriage from both good and bad. It's not like I have one view that's going to end up this way, but let's see. I'm going to ask if your marriage is going in the direction you think it should be going. Because this showed some realignment on how you see yourself in your marriage. So. Wow. Okay. You're not used to these cards. This is the 10 of coins, and it's Tiger's Eye, which is a grounding stone. This is, and I asked if it's going in the direction you want it to, and it says yes, 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 yes. The 6 of Cups here, and then the problem is you have is inside yourself because your marriage is heading in a way that's different than the values you thought you wanted in your marriage, but it's okay because your out card is the Tower, so you will be able to make of it what you want. But when I asked if it's kind of going the way you think it should, um, if your partner, whoever your partner is not a bad person, and there's you can probably save this marriage if you want to. You can stick with it, but it's just that your marriage, just to survive, you're going to have to do some realigning because your values have kind of grown away from each other, Cheryl. I hope that helps you. Um, just be very open. Okay. Let's see if, speaking of marriages not staying together or maybe staying together, here's one that wants to have another one altogether. Okay. Will Sonia be married again? You're going to meet someone this fall, or you already know them. But your problem is that your values are spiritually, your values are different. Not different, but you got present and future for your spirit. Okay, this says right now spiritual changes are happening right now, but they're not going to be finished. Not for a while. I see a whole lot of stuff happening around you in the fall that's going to have a lot to do with you getting married again, unless you're already with somebody or you're really into 10-day romances. I don't see how you're going to get married again this fall. You may meet someone this fall, and then in another year they'll come back around. The garden is so new. I know where the seasons are. I can't do years on it yet. I'm working on it. But what this little cluster of stones tells me is that you've got to deal with some stuff out of your past and out of your past marriages and relationships, and your body right now is between wanting to make some really extraordinary changes and you're going to have to, this stone goes with this one, you need to settle whatever the issue it is you're carrying around. That's it's more like a trigger, not so much like a glimmer, I can tell you that. Your mind is in restate, and this whole situation can change if you just kind of rethink how you view it. And your clarity comes from, I tell you, when it shows up in the past, it means the past, and it means use the lessons you've learned to get the answers how to make this relationship work so much better. And you also have clarity and fire. Yeah, you're when you meet this person, they're going to remind you of things from the past, but it's just so you have to kind of push past that and get to know who they really are. I think you're going to meet someone this fall. When you guys get married, I don't know. You may be one of those people that meet somebody and then you're married. I mean, make a commitment. But um, okay, guys, everybody send prayers to Eliza. She's in the middle of Maui, and um, uh, you have all my sympathies. I've lived through big bad tornadoes and horrible ice storms and crap. It's just Mother Nature's not happy with us. And let's see. Okay. Okay. Um, we all need to pray up thoughts for Eliza, and she's going to make it. And prayers for Maui. Yeah, and you know, when you're thinking about that situation, it's really easy to get down on all what gets stolen away. Think of the people whose lives are going to get pared down, and they're going to realize what becomes important to them, because that happens too out of these horrible experiences. Um, okay, Sherry. Well, Sherry also had to go back to work, so you're dropping like flies. Um, yeah, today is a good day to look at democracy glimmering with hope today. I've been taking a lot of calls from people I know in the political world and friends of mine who don't know how to read all the indictments and things. And one of my friends said, "Why aren't there these other people we know? Because we've heard them reported that they were part of Georgia." There were also, I've heard two different numbers. I've heard something between 30 and 35 or 30 and 40 people who are involved with this that haven't been indicted yet. That doesn't mean they can't be brought in later, depending on what else they find. Okay. Yeah, take care. I can't tolerate any kind of smoke either, Eliza, and it's a pain. And we're going shopping. You know, drop some of those groceries off at my house. Um, okay, we got this one. Okay, Bridget wants to know if she can move in the next year. So look at Bridget's, and it's okay. Tell me about Bridget moving in the next year. I can't say will because that implies yes, no, but okay. Um, you're having some problems laying the foundation for getting on with things because your spirit fell in false. And you haven't found the right situation yet. That's what's holding you up. Your clarity and what the correct situation will be is growing. Um, and if you've had an idea, don't hold on to the one you're looking at right now because it may not be the one that works out. Your body fell into restate, and it's that your options right now aren't really clear. So let's hope we get a bright answer out here in the future. Your mind is between fire and water. One of your problems is that you have limitations. You're like, oh, I'll only go here. I want to have it this way. You need to let go of some of those limitations so that you can just burst forward and go where you need to go because you've got your grounding stone in air. Yeah, you've got to get past some of the mental limitations you've put on yourself about where to move. I think you can move in the next year, but the what it's telling me right now is you're anchored to some things here that are not allow you to seeing all the possibilities of places to move. But that doesn't mean no. It just means let go of limitations, which is going to happen between the fall and the winter. And unless someone wants to type a question in real quickly, I'm probably going to call this game because I've got other, I got grids to build, and I've been trying to build them for 2 days, and things keep happening. So, but I'm not going outside today because it's not going to be 106, but it's going to be pretty damn hot. Okay. Well, there I am again. And there you all are. And I'm so grateful to see you all and be able to interact with you, like really interact with you. I've had a lot of interesting readings, and that's been fascinating to do in the midst of all this. But I'm wishing you all love and light. And remember this. Have you heard of the glimmers? They're the opposite of triggers. A glimmer is a tiny micro moment of happiness. It's a sign of hope. Once you begin to look for them, they start to appear everywhere. And I hope y'all can find them as much as you can. And this is her. Bridget G says, thanks for the advice. And I'm Rossi's Den and Dr. Gail, and everyone have a blessed day. You all were beautiful little glimmers into my life today. So, and I kind of needed that jump up. And I will see you. I know for sure I'm going to do a show next Tuesday. This time, I'm always. Oh, okay. Okay, this takes precedent over everything. This is making money. How do we purchase a garden? You go to. Nope. Go to this. Go to my website, and there's a store. And in the store, there is a place where you can check to get a garden. And I did a reading for a woman this last week who'd never seen the garden before, and it just kind of intrigued her. So she decided to get that kind of a reading. And she was so fascinated with the time we finished that she ordered one, and it's going in the mail to her today, which means it'll go in the mail slot tomorrow morning. If you get a garden, I do have the only sort of join thing I have is we have a gardeners club, and there are people who own the garden, and we meet every other Saturday. And when we meet, we look at specific questions. We discuss different ideas people have when they work with the garden, because every person brings their own personality into it, because it has been around for like 2 years because I channeled it in 2 years ago. And that's where it's been. So if you're interested in a garden, you can get it there. If you do get a garden, I give you one free class so you can see how we run things. And the fun thing is we read for each other in the class. And that's fun for me to see how other people read and how it works. So if you're interested in a garden, that's the garden. And Sandy Miller's washing windows. She can come do that at my house anytime you want. And I want to thank all of you for being here. Thank you for us all having an amazing day. And just keep looking for them little glimmers. Bye.